Hey guys, Courtney Epps here for another episode of What's Your Plan B and Why You Would Be Brain Dead Not on a Home-Based Business. So I have Justin here today and he's going to share with you kind of his background. And welcome Justin. I'm so thankful you're here today.
Thank you. Yeah, an honor to be on with you.
Awesome. So I want you to just share with the audience your background, why you saw network marketing as an amazing opportunity, and kind of what drew you in. Was it the product? Was it service? Was it the opportunity?
Man, I'll try and encapsulate a 15-year journey, into just a couple of kind of key bullet points. But, I really had no professional background prior to this whole world. My folks got divorced when I was 12. We moved 13 times in the next 7 years as a young kid. I was making pizzas, doing construction work, kind of odds and end construction work. And then I worked at a mall kiosk. And I tease people, Courtney, the malls where all the older people used to go when the Amazon was a river. We would hang out at the mall. And I was the guy at the mall that tried to sell you cartoon Bible movies at the mall kiosk, So I always had big dreams, big goals, had no college education, had really no formal professional background. But I wanted to make something of my life. And I was introduced to network marketing. I'm 25 years old. All I knew about it is I didn't want to know anything else. I was very skeptical on the whole thing. And oftentimes people are down on what they're not up on. And that was kind of me. I didn't have any reason specifically to be skeptical. I just kind of was. But man, once I kind of got past my inherent bias or my inherent skepticism, I was like, I'm going to do this thing. This is awesome. And so to that original question of what attracted me, I love the idea of health and wellness, but really what attracted me was the idea that you could, build a business for 3 or 4 or 5 years of your life and potentially build an income stream that could follow you for decades. I thought that is pretty awesome, owning your own business. And I kind of fell in love with the concept. So I joined that company. I became number 3 earner, national spokesperson. I was in 2,000 newsstands all over the country. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm the man at this thing. And then Courtney, the company went out of business one day, like literally one day, boom, it was gone. I remember thinking, I'm not the man anymore. I just had grown man tears crawling down my face.
Oh, Lord.
And long story short, joined another company. I thought it would take me 2 months to get full-time. Took me 2 years and had 2 part-time jobs. At one point, moved my pregnant wife and 2 babies into the loft of my wife's parents' garage, 2 kids sleeping in the closet. I'm working 2 part-time jobs, wondering, like chasing the dream to become free. And I'm wondering, am I crazy? And I got to a point where I was below zero financially, back on my taxes, back on my credit cards. I was just kind of below zero, but I kind of kept pushing forward. And long story short, I became the fastest growing distributor we had in that company when I was in my late 20s. Wow. I was traveling all over the world, speaking in Moscow and Omsk, Russia, and Almaty, Kazakhstan. I had a really great experience there, but I got to a place where I ended up selling that business. And when I sold it, I was out for 2 years. Doing private equity consulting. And then I helped to transform an existing company, an existing network marketing company. It was a 25-year-old company. I was part of a small consulting team to help transform this company. And once we transformed it, I was like, I'm in. I want to do this. So I ended up launching a new team in the field about 6.5 years ago. And it's been an amazing ride. We've been able to build a team of over 2 million people. If you include customers, a team of over 2 million people, if you include customers, and been able to generate over $1 billion in sales and 3 million customers and 500 million in commissions. So we've just been able to build a really cool business. And that's kind of what led me to what, our discussion today is. I've been there doing that now for 8 years. And I've fallen in love with our profession over time. With the power of the network marketing business model to help just kind of everyday normal people to have a chance to really build financial, security for themselves. So I love, by the way, as goofy and nerdy as this is, I actually love the tax discussion. I really do, because our biggest expense of our life will be taxes. And, I teach people there's really 3 things to do to build wealth. And I'm kind of jumping ahead here to give it back to you. One is maximize your income earning potential. Yeah. So like, for example, if you're an employee, you want to get really great at that job of your employment. But then, man, is there other things you could do to maximize your income earning potential? Is there other ways for you? And in network marketing, can provide a way for you to actually just earn additional income. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to minimize your tax burden. And that's what your special is at, right?
Yes.
And so earn as much as you can, minimize how much you're paying. And then lastly is learn to invest properly to where you can actually put those dollars to work for you. And that's kind of a recipe for, financial independence. So I'm passionate about this subject.
I love it. I love it. And that's, you're exactly right. And that's one of the things that kind of attracted me when I first saw the network marketing industry. I went from having a really, really successful business. I bought this little one room, 12 by 12 square office, an insurance agency. Gosh, I guess I was 25. So it's 13 years ago. And I built that up in 3.5 years to 3,500 clients. I started off with 500, built it to 3,500. And we were in 3 locations, 11 employees. And, it skyrocketed. And I was in a place where I was short on cash flow, but I was trying to build really, really fast, and that's what happens. Like, businesses are trying to grow and grow and grow. And that's, again, another reason why I love the network marketing industry is that you don't have to worry about a lot of the things that a traditional brick and mortar location does. But I put the business up for sale. I made one wrong decision. I didn't hire an attorney, and the guy I sold it to stopped paying me after 4 months. And I saw everything I built, just kind of like you, overnight went away. But yours went away. Mine went away, and I was $250,000 in debt, and I couldn't afford to file bankruptcy. And I had a 5-year non-compete in the entire state of South Carolina for anything that I knew how to do. And so what happened, although it would not have ever held up, it didn't matter because I was unemployable. So owners of companies were not going to hire me if they had to worry about the threat of being sued to hire me. So it was kind of crazy. And my parents got me involved in a network marketing business. And I fell in love with the fact that you could help people not only save more money in taxes, but you could help them make money. And I'd always been able to save them money, but I'd never been to a place where I could help them make money.
Yeah.
And that's instrumental. And, one of the things, if anyone on here right now is a W-2 employee, understand that we in no way are knocking or think that W-2 employees are, bad. What you need to understand is there are 2 tax systems in our country, and you have to find a way to get into the wealth tax system. The first system was set up for W-2 employees, and that system was set up to steal wealth away. And if you don't believe me, I'll explain how it all works. But the second system is the business owner tax system. That system was created to provide wealth for you. And the reason why is that we as business owners, we go out and we're selling and we're generating economy. And so as we continue to do that, we spend money on our business. So we're the ones spending all the money. And then at the end of the day, what's left over, we hire employees with. And so the IRS gives us massive tax benefits to do those things. And the great part is that the deductions that we have as a business owner, a lot of those are truly what I would call living expenses if you are a home-based business owner, and you can actually buy a lot of your needs and your wants from your business without having to pay taxes on it. And then what happens is someone has to pay the taxes, and that someone is a W-2 employee. So as a W-2 employee, you will pay 40% of every dollar you make minimum in taxes. And throughout your lifetime, exactly what Justin just said is that if you combine food, clothing, housing, and transportation, you'll actually pay more in taxes than those 4 things. And most people don't even have that understanding. So, Justin, did you go to college?
No, ma'am. I mean, I had a semester and a half, but at the local community college, but I never finished. So that doesn't really count.
So you don't have to go to college to be in network marketing. Do you have kids?
Yes, ma'am. We have 4. So from 16 down to 7, 2 boys, 2 girls.
Awesome. Mine are 18 to 7. I have 6.
Oh, that's so fun. Good for you.
That's awesome. And you live where?
So we just moved to Southern Utah. Southern Utah is about 4 hours south of the airport in Salt Lake City. And we just moved down here about a month or so ago. So it's kind of down in the Red Rock. Have you ever seen like Zion's or whatever, like those national parks? It's down in the Red Rock part of Utah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I just actually went to Utah. We took a road trip with our family. We went out to see Operation Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
a lot of work for those guys.
Yeah, I love them. That we give for every $25,000 that we bring in our accounting practice, about every 3 days we free a child from sex trafficking. So that's kind of part of our
that's the worst subject in the world, and it's the darkest subject in the world, but it's a subject that we have to shine light on because it's just so unacceptable what's happening in our world that there's an old saying that says evil prevails when good men and women do nothing. And so people listening, all of us, we have to be more aware. It's such a terrible subject that we don't want to talk about it, but we have to shine light on it to help children throughout the world.
That's exactly right. And then on top of that, we feed about 8,000 children a day through our accounting practice, through a nonprofit, Whole Food Plant-Based Nutrition. And then we provide about 53 people a day with safe drinking water.
That is incredible.
We've connected that all into what we do on a daily basis. So for every $1 that we bring in, we provide a serving of food. Every $150 we provide safe drinking water, and for every $25,000 we free a child from sex trafficking. So pretty amazing just to be a part of that. So that's one of the things, as a network marketer, one of the things I'm trying to infiltrate into the network marketing space, because I think the more that we give, obviously, the more we receive. And one of the great benefits, and I'm sure I want you to just kind of share this, is that in network marketing, like, you have to give in order to receive. Like, you have to help people be beneficial. You have to help them make money. You have to help them learn in order for you to, in turn, make money.
Yeah. So I want to go back to something you said a second ago as well. There's 3 ways to build wealth. We talked about maximize your income earning potential, minimize your tax burden. That's where you specialize.
Yeah.
And I think that for some of us, I know this was this way for me, and I'll bet you for a lot of you, maybe you could say yes in the comments if you could agree with this. But the whole tax system, the whole tax discussion, man, it feels just like a little overwhelming and a little too complex and a little bit like, man, I don't want to get in trouble. And I don't want the government mad at, you're just kind of like, I'll just pay whatever you say, I'll just do it. And to your point, there's rules that were set up by the government. So in other words, they're legal rules. They actually were the ones that said, okay, here's the deal. If you do these certain things, we've actually built in some benefits for you to do those. And so learning to minimize that tax burden is so critical. Now that goes back to the question, which is learning to maximize your income earning potential. One of the things I like to share with people is that you say, who is your employer? And, you might say, well, I work for so-and-so or this company or that company, or I work for this, a doctor, I'm a secretary or a nurse, or maybe you are a school teacher, or whatever your profession is. Maybe you're a plumber. The way that I look at it is this: the marketplace is the employer. Yeah. So in other words, we're not employed by the dental office. We're actually, the marketplace is the great employer. And here's what's interesting is the marketplace will pay you whatever it thinks you're worth. So in other words, you can increase your value that you bring to the marketplace, because the marketplace is an exchange of value. Like if you have a skill, or maybe you exchange some time, and maybe on the lowest level, you're willing to, like my son, I'll give you an example. We live in a new community. My son goes out and picks up trash. He's 16 years old, picks up spare wood and trash and so on, compiles it and throws it in the dumpster. Well, he's providing a value, a service, right? The service is, it makes the whole subdivision look a little bit cleaner. The builders can keep building without, clutter building up. But that's a little bit of a lower level of value. That's not a humongous skill set. It just takes a little bit of hustle, a little bit of getting out there and making it happen. So the good news is it's like a ladder. It's like you can climb the ladder. And you can go from making, for example, $10 an hour to, in the marketplace, there's people making $100 an hour, and there's also people making $1,000 an hour. You say, how is that possible? How could one person make 10, one 100, one 1,000? And it's because the one that makes 1,000, using this analogy, is bringing more value than the one that makes 100 or the one that makes 10. So the power of network marketing is there's skills that you can learn. There's like skill sets that you can develop over time. And those skill sets are really valuable. And what I love about it, like one of the other kind of pieces of advice that I give people that want to become wealthy is, pardon me, is to pick an industry that can make you wealthy. Like if you want to become wealthy, pick an industry. I'll give you an example. Pick an industry and become the best at it. In other words, commit yourself to, over the next 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, to become the best at what you do. And network marketing is one of those industries that if you'll give it some time, you know what I'm saying? If you'll give it some, if you don't be in, be out. Right. Give it a year, give it 5 years, give it 10 years to become the very, very best at what you do. that is a recipe for building wealth.
Yes.
I'm going to go grab a water. Oh my gosh. I think I have
grab a water.
Give me 2 seconds. So guys, I'm coming right back. I don't know if you've ever had that happen, but I'm coming right back. Give me 2 seconds.
Go ahead. So, and that's the great thing, guys, is that, I picked an industry. Everyone needs accountants, fortunately. And, I think that we have seen what has happened just recently. We've seen with the pandemic and everything that's going on that you've got to find a good industry. You've got to find an industry that's constantly there for you. And I want to make sure that people understand, yes, you can be a W-2 employee. What I want to help you get to the point of is that by being a W-2 employee, by having some sort of home-based business, that now not only are you're getting the best of both worlds. So I'm going to break it down for you, and I want you to understand this. And I say this all the time. So the average household in America makes $60,000 a year. And they will pay $14,000 in taxes this year. From there, what's left over is considered something called take home, which is $46,000. From that, there's now something called cost of living that is available. So we make $46,000. That's the take home. Average W-2 employee, their take home is $46,000. Cost of living in America is $53,000 a year. So the average W-2 employee is going in debt $7,000 a year to work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year to take 2 weeks paid vacation. And why that's a problem, if you didn't already understand or comprehend the negative number, is that every single year that is continuously compounding. And so if we don't find a way to get out of that vicious cycle, as a W-2 employee, you're going to look at your life 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, and you're actually worse off than you were to start off with. And the reason why is because the system is broken. The system was broken beforehand. 46% of Americans before the pandemic did not have an extra $400 to their name. And 69% of Americans before the pandemic did not have an extra $1,000 to their name. So what we're sharing with you is almost a double whammy. It's pretty amazing because you can actually make more money and you can pay less taxes. And whether you believe that or not, that is truly available in this country. So, Justin, I'll let you finish up.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. It's one of those ones that goes down the wrong tube and you're like, uh-oh,
I'm gonna drink some water. You're good.
I want to touch on something you just said. I want to see if I can challenge your listeners for a second. And here's what the challenge. We need to get our financial houses in order. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I look at what's happening in the country and it's easy sometimes. By the way, this is true of what's happening in the world with COVID. It's easy sometimes to blame the government and to blame, they should have shut it down or they should have opened it or masks or not masks. In other words, we can get into all these kind of like different political type discussions. But one thing that I think is imperative that we should hopefully have all learned from COVID, and obviously maybe learned before this, but COVID's exposed it, is that we need to have our financial house in order. What I'm saying? Like the world can change in 2 seconds. And that's true for all of us. And not spend beyond our means. If we can't afford the Tahoe, stay in the minivan. If you can't, just like we don't have to have it all too fast. Yeah. And I feel like as a society, and I'm speaking of the United States specifically, we're just not raised there. So like my grandparents, for example, were what's called children of the Depression. They were raised during the Depression. Man, they just looked at the world differently. And I'm hoping that our kids look back. I think literally they'll look back as like, I was children of the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll be like, I grew up during that time. And I hope that they look back and we've taught them some good financial principles, like, to live below your means, save some dollars for a rainy day. Some of these kind of boring principles that these isms that we've heard over the years, this is a challenge for us all to get our financial house in order. And I know that you could hear that right now and say, kind of like easy for you to say kind of thing, I'm hurting. I just lost my job as a waitress, or I lost my job as a waiter. And what I'm sharing with you is, I feel your pain, and I'm sharing we have to like make decisions moving forward to get our financial house in order. And to your point, there's a gap. Let me share this, Courtney. There's a gap in our country right now, which is a gap of those that know how to make money online and those that do not.
Right.
And online, like you ask yourself, is online going to become more prevalent or less prevalent in the next 10 years? In other words, online shopping, online interaction, communication. I think we would all say, well, it's going to become more prevalent. It's just the beginning. You say, okay. And so if you don't know how to make money online, if you don't know how to monetize this incredible thing called the internet, you're going to get left behind there, because there's skills. Going back to the thing about the value, what's happening is things are becoming more and more like the job. I'll give you an example. Years and years and years ago, when you pulled your car up to a gas station, 4 or 5 people would converge on your car. They would wash your windows, fill your air pressure, check your engine, pump your gas. And they worked, there was no minimum wage. They worked on tips back in that time. But what was interesting is they were building skills, because they would hang out with the guys that were fixing, the mechanics. They would go hang out with the mechanics when it was slow, and they would learn these new skills. The point that I'm trying to drive to is we need to get resourceful again and get hungry again, because you pull up to a gas station, that doesn't happen anymore. Those skills were not needed in the marketplace anymore. And so we need to learn new skills, acquire new skills, be bold, be strong, get over what are people going to think about me and say about me, and all the kind of head stuff that we get into. There's a great book called Presence by a woman named Amy Cuddy. She's a Harvard professor. And, presence is, by the way, Courtney, when you've seen people, how many of you guys listening have ever seen someone walk into a room and you're just like, I don't know what it is about her, but she is something about her. Or I don't know what it is about him. There's like a presence to the person. Yes. So what Amy Cuddy studies, it's an academic study of, can you build presence? In other words, are you just born with it, or is it something you can learn? And the study was, it's something you can learn. And here's what's interesting. She said that the human bias is that we care so much what people are thinking and saying about us. It's the human bias. Like, what's in my teeth? Are they going to think I'm stupid? Are they going to think I'm dumb? Like, it's a human bias. One of the reasons people play smaller whole life is we're so concerned about what people think. What she says the reality is that people aren't thinking about you as much as you think they're thinking about you. So one of the things I'd encourage people to do as you're listening is, man, like, step up, like get your financial house in order. Like, learning taxes, learning this game is a skill. It's like you increased your skill sets. And man, think if you could get to a point where your skill set started saving you dollars. Those dollars that you save, remember, $1 that you save in taxes is $1 that the government was willing to give you, but you were paying because you basically didn't know better. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were willing to give you the $1 back. Yeah. You just hadn't taken the steps to get it back. So if you go save $10, $100, $1,000, that's a big deal over time, because that's your biggest expense of your life, is your tax burden.
Yes. And, like I tell people all the time, what happened, I did not realize how big of a deal it was to have some sort of home-based business until I actually got involved in a network marketing business, because I've been a business owner since I was 18 years old. So I'd been taking these tax deductions. And so I did a tax return for someone in the group, that in the company I was in, and I saved her $4,100 more than she'd ever gotten back on her taxes before, because she was a nurse. Her husband was an engineer. They never had any extra money. And I saved her that much money. She wasn't very successful in the company at that point. She hadn't even used the product because she didn't feel like she could afford it. And then as soon as that happened and she got that refund, she ended up using the product and then came back and told everybody about how amazing the product was. And then she hit the first rank in the company. And, and then it made me realize, like, man, this is truly powerful. So, over the course of years went by, I had done 900 tax returns for different people in network marketing. And I would show them where they would have been had they not had their network marketing business. See, so many people see network marketing when they first get in as an expense.
Yes.
I see it as a tax deduction. I see it as a massive way to save money in taxes and a way to virtually write off every single thing that you are doing, because you're in the network marketing space. So when you are speaking to someone, when you pick up the phone and call someone, you're using your cell phone. So that's a tax deduction. You need the internet in order to run your network marketing business. That's a tax deduction. You go out of town. If you pick up the phone and call your upline, downline, sideline, crossline, if you call your, a prospect and you want to talk to them about the business, do that firsthand. And if you do that, then your travel is all tax deductible. So there's so many things that we're currently spending on a daily basis that when you decide, hey, I'm a business owner now, hey, I'm attempting to earn income. And it's not about when you make money. It's about the minute that you have the intent to make money is when you can start taking advantage of tax deductions. And so what I did 900 of those tax returns, and I realized that I could guarantee someone was going to save between $4,000 and $7,000 a year, which that would be equivalent to them making an additional $8,000 to $13,000 a year in a paycheck.
Yep.
Because you've got to pay taxes on that money. Tax money you don't have to pay taxes on. And when that started running through my head, and I heard those statistics by Grant Cardone that I said earlier, that the average household goes into debt $7,000 a year. I heard those statistics 2 years ago. It completely stopped me in my tracks. And I went from being a fractional CFO to a handful of clients. And that was the path and the direction I was taking to, oh my God, I have to share this message with the masses. I have to teach people that we could change the world if we could truly get them involved in some sort of home-based business and help them save $4,000 to $7,000 a year, because they wouldn't be going in debt anymore. And then they can make extra money. But as they learn through the network marketing world, because that's exactly what you're doing. You're learning how to make more money. You're getting around the right mindset of people. And because of that, you will eventually make more. And now you're saving more along the way.
I mean, that is so powerful. I have two thoughts I want to share. Let's just go. Did you say 4 to 7 you feel like that's been the kind of the blended average?
Yes.
Let's just use 4.
Tax brackets.
Yeah, let's use 4 as our low example. If you were to, so remember, guys, that's money that's already gone. You've already spent that money, meaning that money was gone. You paid Uncle Sam those dollars. Yeah. So if those dollars come back, imagine this, just for the sake of an example. Imagine that. Now, remember, that's not changing. That's not earning more income in that example. That's just actually with what's happening. So 4,000, let's say you did that over 10 years. That's 40,000 that you saved. If you were to invest that, because remember, 3 things: maximize your income earning potential, minimize your tax burden, and number 3 is invest properly. If you were to invest that money, that's approximately about $300 and so a month. It's a little bit more than that, about 300 and some odd dollars a month. You just start putting $300 a month into proper investments. You just start small, chip away. Now you're on the track to wealth building. Because now you have some left over. You have 40,000 left over, where the average American has 400 or less. You have that 40,000 is it's actually working while you're sleeping, meaning it's working, it's earning you income while you're sleeping, and that income is compounding. I believe it was Einstein that said compounding interest is one of the 8 wonders of the world. In other words, this is powerful, because now you're not compounding 40,000, you're compounding 41, then 48, then 53. It's all compounding. There's one other quick thing I want to share with you about one of the real hidden benefits of network marketing. Obviously, the potential to earn income. That's fantastic. Like we've talked about, the potential to earn income through tax savings, meaning to minimize your tax burden. I can't tell you, Courtney, how many people that I've worked with over the years that said to me, I never made it huge in network marketing. Now, they did earn money and they did minimize their tax burden. So they earned extra money and they minimized tax burdens, but they didn't make $1 bazillion. However, they became the best in their real estate office. Yeah. They became the best in their solar company. They ranked up, or they moved up the chain in their nursing practice, where they actually, because they gained new skills. Yeah. And their mindset shifted. They started hanging out with better people. I love what Les Brown's mom. So Les Brown was born with a twin brother, Leslie and Wesley, on a linoleum floor in Liberty City, Miami. He was adopted by a woman named Mamie Brown. And when he was a young kind of boy coming up, Mamie Brown said to him, she says, "Baby, She said, if you hang out with losers, you're going to be a loser. I mean, there's so much wisdom in that statement, right? Like we kind of are who we hang out with a lot.
Yes.
And what's cool about network marketing is you can get around people, Courtney, just like you can get around people and they're pretty dynamic folks, and they've kind of got some stuff going on, and they're pretty interesting people. And just the power of that association and how it applies to your current employment, or how it applies to your current small business or your current self-employed situation, whatever the case might be for each person, that helps you to maximize your income earning potential there as well. In other words, you get better at what you're doing, plus you're generating income with the network marketing business, plus you're minimizing your tax burden, plus if you're wise and you just don't go spend the money, you take those dollars and invest properly. I mean, guys, this is how people build wealth. It's how people build kind of that generational wealth concept.
Yes.
I think wealth feels like such a far away thing for oftentimes for people. It's the small little things that compound over time, because consistency compounds. And so you do the small right things over a period of a lifetime. And that's how you, over a period, you leave and you leave your family a little bit of a financial legacy, at least in practice, as well as in income.
I love it. Yeah. And that's the thing, guys, in 6 years ago, 2014, I was broken. Like, I was a broken human being, and I knew nothing about personal growth and development. It was just not something. Like, I had been to see Zig Ziglar one time, and it just was not in my understanding. It's not typically in the business world. And so, I started building my accounting practice back up. And that was the first thing I saw, is I could join this. I could be a part of this company. And my parents had to sign me up because I could not afford to sign up. Like, that was where we were with 6 small children, and we didn't have an extra $400. I mean, that's how much it was. It was like $365, I think, to get started. And so, when I got involved in that company, you see people that are no better than you, that are doing so much better than you financially, and you want to be there. And, so thankfully that pushed me to do better and to be a better person. And then I got involved in the Tony Robbins world about 3 years ago, and our business just literally took off. But I wouldn't even known who Tony Robbins was. And Les Brown is the first person I ever spoke for. Last January, I spoke for him at UCLA. So cool. Yeah. And I mean, and you know how it happened? I saved a friend of his $57,000 on his taxes. He was a network marketer, had no clue he ever paid on his taxes. I went back and amended them. He introduced me to Les. And Les, when I spoke about those statistics, he said, I have to get you to be on a live with me. And then when I got on the live, he wanted me to go and speak for him at UCLA. And, I would never have been involved in the speaking world. I'm an international speaker now and an author. I never would have had that had I not been in the network marketing space, because I would not have realized how beneficial it was. So, I spend $0 on marketing and advertising, and never have. And our business has literally grown in 2014 from $9,000 that year, right? So this is kind of the whole network marketing world, if you understand it, because I built my business a lot like network marketing. We went from $9,000 in 1 year to, we will hit roughly 2.3 million this year. Now, 6 years, and we've only built it through the network marketing space. And when you understand that, guys, like, I didn't have the mindset to get there. I didn't have the people around me to get to where I needed to go. The only way that I found those things was through the network marketing space. And then you see people who are no better than you, who are making more money, who have a better life than you, and you want to force yourself to be there. And so it kicks in this other gear, I guess, that you don't even realize you have.
Man, that is a powerful story. Holy cow. That is, and by the way, your accent is, I love your Southern accent. I think it's so endearing. That is such a powerful story. And what I love about your story, one of the things I love about your story is, even as I hear it, it reminds me that it's possible.
Yeah.
I remember when I was 22 years old, I'm driving in my white Toyota Corolla, had, I think, 200 and something thousand miles on it at the time. I was listening to a weekend seminar by a guy named Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn was actually Tony Robbins. If you ever heard of Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn was actually his mentor, right? And he had all of these great speakers that were speaking on his stage over this weekend seminar. And they were all sharing their testimonials, their personal experience, kind of like, you can do it too, that whole thing. And Jim Rohn gets up at the very, very, very end, and he says, we now have enough testimonials and enough personal experiences to conclude that it's possible to create and to design an extraordinary life. And I remember thinking, I know it's possible for all those people, all these extraordinary people I just heard about. I know it's possible for Courtney, or in this case, I know it's possible for Justin, right? I know it's possible for them. I just don't know if it's going to be possible for me. And what's interesting is I don't know if some of you may be thinking that your success is not probable, meaning maybe you came from a tough situation as a child. Maybe you've had a divorce or a bankruptcy, or maybe, I don't know, maybe you've been through some tough times, and maybe you're like, you look at it and you're like, I don't know. I don't think it's probable for me to actually figure all this stuff out that she's talking about, And what I want to share with you is this: you don't need probable, you only need possible. If it's possible for one, it's possible for many. And I remember thinking to myself, I just listened to enough of these testimonials and enough of these personal experiences that I was just like, there's just nothing all these other people can figure out I can't figure out, because success is an identity process. Like, success is a process where you identify and relate with other people, and you start to identify it in yourself. You start to say, I can do this, meaning I have what it takes within myself. And so I would just encourage you guys to, if it's possible, all you need is possible. For example, if a man has to have birth a child, well, look, it's not possible, at least not yet, right? Well, okay, then I'll give you that one. Like, that one's not possible. But man, for you to go from where you are and get to where you want to go, living in the United States of America, it's possible. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of other folks have done it. Like, it is possible. Now, you do need, you need to find a good opportunity. You need to find a good mentoring. And then you need to put in some consistent effort and work. But is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? All you need is possible. If it's possible for one, it's possible for many. And so I love that story. That is such a powerful, powerful story. By the way, one other thing that's interesting about your story is that kind of goes back to this whole theme of kind of what we talked about, which is getting outside your comfort zone and learning new skills. Yeah. Because for example, you added value to one of those people that worked for that Les Brown knew to amend those taxes. You added $57,000 of value to that person. Well, that person couldn't stop singing your praises. And then that led to this. And then, by the way, when you first did the live with Les Brown, you added enough value that opened up more doors. Like, this is the secret, my friends. Like, always do more than you're paid for as an investment in your future. Sometimes we want to take. We feel like we're entitled to stuff. Like, what's in it for me? How much money am I going to make doing this? We feel entitled to, like someone owes us something. You want to kind of flip that and say, always do more than I'm paid for as an investment in my future. Like, how can I serve at a high level? How can I add value at a high level? Remember, you're a person of value, and you add value to other people. So you start getting more into like a value servant mindset versus what can I get mindset.
Yes.
And man, this is the beginning of building wealth for yourself, is just some of these mindset shifts and then taking that consistent action.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, that's so true. And it is possible, guys. Like, I mean, I'll tell you that 3 years ago, actually 3.5 years ago, I lost my memory for about 6.5 months. We were living in a house that was infested with mold, and we lost everything. And I couldn't work, and it was super crazy. But, thank God, looking back, I had gone to a Tony Robbins event, and he said, you've got to replace yourself. You've got to get people that can do the things that you don't want to do on a daily basis. And I hired one employee, and that one employee kept everything going until I could get back to a point where I could remember I had clients again. So it was super scary. And that's what I look at with network marketing. It's like, it's your cushion. It's your life insurance policy, because if you build it, and please understand, I'm not involved in network marketing at all. I am here. I am sharing with people why they need to have a network marketing business. Why am I not involved in network marketing? Because you wouldn't listen to me if I was involved in network marketing. You wouldn't understand and comprehend that I'm just trying to help. So I've decided and made a decision that I stepped down the industry to help people and work alongside network marketers to allow people to understand that this is a viable opportunity, to allow them to stay in long enough to win through the tax savings, and to help them keep more of their hard-earned money when they make it. And I felt like it was best if I stay outside of it. But guys, if you understand that nobody can replace you at your job today, they can replace you, but you won't get paid. But as in network marketing, you can actually have people that have your back. So you go out and build a team, and these people have your back, and they can help you. So if you were to get sick, or if something were to happen to you, or, hope to God, if you died, like, your team could step in and continue building your legacy for your family and your children. And it's just it's an amazing concept. It's an amazing business model. And I think people take it so much for granted just because they don't understand it.
I completely agree. Listen, I talked about this with mine. People are often down what they're not up on.
Right.
And, a mine and a parachute are a lot alike. They both have to be open to work.
Yes.
And man, what I would share with you is this: educate yourself. I mean, come on, like, get educated. I love the stats and the quotes and the examples that you've been sharing as we've been talking, because once you start to learn some of what's happening in the reality, that $7,000 a year in the hole that you're in other words, that you're going backwards, you start saying, okay, that's obviously not going to work. So how do I take care of how do I get my financial house in order? How do I start being a little bit more self-reliant, a little bit more proactive, build new skills? And, network marketing has the economic upside, the economic potential, if you will, that's it's tough to match in kind of a small business or a traditional business. Now, normally the sword, the first blade cuts up, that's all the upside, that's the excitement of the upside. But the blade cuts down too. It's double bladed, it's double edged. And so the risk is so high in business. It's one of the reasons that we stay as employees, and we're like, I can't take the risk. What's so cool with this is you can leave this discussion and you can find a person that you would want to work with. You can find products that you'd be excited about, or products or service that you'd be excited about. And then also you can say, I'm going to give this thing some consistent effort and time over an extended period of time.
Yes.
And do that. And then, obviously get with Courtney, or someone like Courtney, if you can find someone like her that can help you with the tax side of it, so that you can start to take advantage of the wealth building strategies of being a business owner versus an employee of a business.
Yes.
And start building your own dreams. Like, start taking full responsibility for your financial future. Don't allow that to be in someone else's camp all the time. So, Courtney, I'm so inspired by what you're doing and the value that you're adding for so many. And I'm just grateful to be able to share here for a few minutes with you and with your audience.
I appreciate it, Justin. And I thank you so much. And I know we're both on a hard stop. And guys, that's all we're doing. We're providing you with value. And at the end of the day, we just want you to help and go share that information with others, because you never know that if the person across from you has enough money to pay for their tire to go flat next week. Like, they don't have that extra income, and you could potentially have something, a product or a service, and an opportunity that could potentially change their life. So I just want you to go out and share that today as if your life depended on it, because other people's lives do depend on it, and they need you to be willing to open up and just share and give from your heart, whether someone tells you yes or no or not. So I appreciate you. Have you got any last things that you want to say, Justin? And I thank you so much for being on here with me today.
Yeah. Again, thank you. And, I'll share just a quick story. There was a couple that was traveling throughout Europe, and they were admiring the cobblestone streets and the big, beautiful cathedrals and churches. And they noticed over a little parkway, there's a man sitting there, an elderly man. They go sit next to him, and they said, "Sir, have any great men and great women ever been born in this city?" And the elderly man thought about it for a moment, and then put his head down and shook it. And he said, "No." He said, "Only babies. Only babies have been born in that city." And what I want to share with you is this: we all start as a little baby, but you can become a great man, or you can become a great woman. And there's other people out there that can become great men and great women. They just need you. They need to be around you, or maybe you need to be around them a little bit. We all just start as little babies, in every city around the world. But great men and great women live in our cities around the world because they were molded by people. And so hopefully you're that kind of person that can go add value and help to build great men and great women. Heaven knows we need them in our world right now. We need more great men, more great women. So Courtney, I appreciate you being a great woman and doing great work.
Thank you. You too, Justin. And I appreciate what you're doing. Obviously, with 2 million customers and reps and $1 billion in sales, that's obviously adding massive, massive value. So I thank you so much. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you for joining us for what's your plan B and why you'd be brain dead not own a home-based business. Bye, guys.
Thanks so much, guys.